Welcome to the program. You're watching our mid-morning edition of Arirang News on this Tuesday, May 26th, coming to you live from Seoul. I'm Shin Se-min. Before we begin, these are the stories we're following at this hour. Cover up. Those without protective face masks will not be allowed to ride buses or cabs. This on top of the government's push to implement a QR-based verification system for those going into nightlife entertainment establishments. South Korea's consumer confidence rebounds from an 11-year low in May over a sharp drop in new COVID-19 cases and with the emergency fund payouts. Plus, Beijing says it'll unilaterally push to impose national security laws on Hong Kong this coming Thursday, despite a strong backlash coming from demonstrators in Hong Kong. With tensions high, China lowers the yuan midpoint to its weakest level since the 2008 global financial crisis. Starting from today, anyone taking buses, subway trains, or taxis here in South Korea must wear a protective face mask. Most people have already been following such guidelines, but the government has introduced these stronger measures due to the increasing number of passengers and drivers neglecting to wear masks amid rising temperatures. Bus and taxi drivers can deny entry for anyone not wearing a mask without facing punishment for refusing passengers. And drivers must also wear masks at all times while carrying passengers. The mask-wearing policy will be extended to all domestic and international flights also starting the coming Wednesday. Following prolonged national lockdowns, many European countries, including Britain and Spain, are getting ready to gradually ease their COVID-19 restrictions. Such easing, however, has caused problems for Germany, leading to new cluster of infections across that country. Our Kim Hyo-sun with more.
Countries in Europe are easing coronavirus restrictions, with the UK rolling out plans for more easing of its lockdown. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said during a regular press briefing on Monday that the country is set to reopen thousands of high street shops, department stores, and shopping centers from June. He explained that outdoor markets could be reopened first, followed by all other non-essential retail from mid-June.
Today, I want to give the retail sector notice of our intentions to reopen shops so they too can get ready. So I can announce that it is our intention to allow outdoor markets to reopen from June the 1st, subject to all premises being made COVID secure, as well as car showrooms, which often had significant outdoor space and where it is generally easier to apply social distancing.
Similar measures are being put in place in Spain as well. In Barcelona and Madrid, residents can now meet in groups of up to 10 people in their homes or on the terraces of bars and restaurants. Starting Monday, restrictions were also eased at beaches following 10 weeks of an intense lockdown.
I feel happy because I was able to go out and feel the freedom to do it. It's all about first times today. First time we eat paella, first time we drink a glass of wine. It makes me happy because I love to see. I love to eat by the sea. I'm very happy.
Nevertheless, in some countries like Germany and Italy, lockdown easing has led to new cluster infections, complicating their efforts to reopen their economies. In Germany, more than 100 people were found to have been infected following a Baptist church service in Frankfurt, while over a dozen others tested positive after attending the opening of a restaurant in the northern town of Leer. Italy will be mobilizing nearly 70,000 volunteers to enforce social distancing rules amid fears of a possible second wave. While they do not have any policing powers, they will patrol parks, markets, and bar areas where there could be large gatherings following the partial easing of the national lockdown. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
The World Health Organization has suspended its trial of hydroxychloroquine as a treatment for COVID-19 over safety concerns. WHO Director General said Monday that the concern relates to the use of the drug to tackle COVID-19. However, he noted that the drug is generally safe to use in patients with autoimmune diseases or malaria. Hydroxychloroquine, what U.S. President Donald Trump has praised as a panacea for COVID-19, is an anti-malarial drug to treat illnesses, including lupus, but not proven to treat COVID-19. Back here in the nation, South Korea's consumer sentiment has rebounded from its lowest level since the global financial crisis as the COVID-19 outbreak becomes less pronounced in the country and with emergency disaster relief funds now circulating the economy. The Bank of Korea said this Tuesday that the consumer sentiment index for May jumped 6.8% on month to over 77. The current financial status was up 2 points, while the financial status outlook rose by 6 points. The outlook for jobs shot up by 5 points, and the central bank attributed the rosy figures to improved outlooks for the general economy and household conditions, as well as eased social distancing measures that allowed economic activities to resume. President Moon Jae-in is calling for wartime-like aggressive fiscal measures to cope with the economic crisis triggered by the flare-up of COVID-19. While brushing off concerns that'll hurt the nation's long-term financial soundness, the South Korean president said a third supplementary budget to try and mitigate the damage should be allocated in a timely manner. Our presidential correspondent Kim Min-ji with the details.
President Moon Jae-in has called on the government to direct all of its fiscal capacity to overcoming what he calls South Korea's wartime economic situation. Chairing a high-level meeting Monday between the presidential office, the government, and ruling party to discuss the country's fiscal strategy, Moon said that the role of finance has become even more crucial because there's no sign of a bottom for the global economy, and South Korea is no exception.
전시 재정을 편성한다는 각오로 정부의 재정 역량을 총동원해야 합니다. 재정은 국가 정책을 실현하는 직접적인 수단입니다. 경제 위기 국면에서는 국민의 고통을 해결하는 데 앞장서 역할을 해야 합니다.
Moon also called for the swift drawing up of a third extra budget with the aim of having it passed by June, emphasizing the importance of timely fiscal measures. As for concerns over the country's fiscal soundness, Moon said there needs to be enough fiscal spending to overcome the crisis and strengthen the country's economic fundamentals. With 2 supplementary budgets passed already, the country's debt-to-GDP ratio stands at 41%, lower than the OECD average of 110%.
지금의 심각한 위기 국면에서는 충분한 재정 투입을 통해 빠르게 위기를 극복하고 경제 성장률을 높여 재정 건전성을 회복하는 좀 더 긴 호흡의 재정 투자 선순환을 도모하지 않으면 안 됩니다. 그것이 길게 볼 때 오히려 GDP 대비 국가 채무 비율의 악화를 막는 길입니다.
The president added that the government will also be tightening its belt and restructuring its budget to cut unnecessary spending. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News.
With China set to pass its national security law on Hong Kong this coming Thursday, pro-democracy protesters in that city are desperately appealing for international support, saying its autonomy would be forever violated if the law is approved. Our Lee Seung-jae with more.
On Sunday, thousands of citizens took to the streets of Hong Kong in response to China's plans to pass its national security law prohibiting any act of treason, secession, sedition, and subversion against the Chinese government. The protest led to roughly 200 arrests and left many injured as police fired tear gas and water cannon on protesters. With China set to pass the law on Thursday, protesters are digging in for a fight.
A lot of people think that we exploited their freedom when coming out to protest. But I think the national security law will affect our freedom in the future and the freedom of our next generation. If our generation don't come out to fight, it won't exist anymore for the next generation.
However, there's a minority of the population that agree with Beijing's decision to pass the law.
As Hong Kong has no capability or method to enact, I don't object the Chinese central government to enact the national security law decisively, and I agree with that.
However, the vast majority of Hong Kong citizens believe that once the law is passed, Hong Kong's autonomy and freedom will end. Which is why Joshua Wong, the figure behind the pro-democracy movement, has called for international support through an op-ed in the Washington Post. Along with Washington's opposition to the passing of the law, Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen says her country will provide the people of Hong Kong with necessary assistance. Taiwan has become a refuge for a growing number of pro-democracy protesters who have fled Hong Kong, as it has no law on refugees who seek asylum on the island. In addition, Taiwan's laws promise help for Hong Kong citizens whose safety and liberty are threatened for political reasons. While protests in Hong Kong have won widespread sympathy in Taiwan and the support from President Tsai, her administration's already poor ties with Beijing are rapidly eroding even further. Meanwhile, the EU Foreign Affairs Chief Joseph Borrell has also called on China to respect Hong Kong's autonomy and the one country, two systems principle. He noted that a more robust strategy toward China is needed amid signs Asia is replacing the U.S. as the center of global power. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
China's central bank has cut its official yuan midpoint to a 12-year low so far. Watchers say it seems to be in response to the Trump administration's threat to impose sanctions and tariffs on Beijing due to its imminent encroachment on Hong Kong autonomy. Our Kim Da-mi reports.
China's central bank has lowered its official yuan midpoint to its weakest level since the 2008 global financial crisis. Reuters reports the People's Bank of China on Monday set the midpoint at around 7.1209 yuan per US dollar prior to the market open. That's 0.38% lower than the previous fix of 7.0939. Beijing's move hints at yet another showdown between the US and China, as bilateral relations between the world's two superpowers have deteriorated over COVID-19 and China's proposed new national security law for Hong Kong. But analysts stress it's too early to assume this signals the start of a currency war between Washington and Beijing. Reuters says China's move merely reflects losses in the spot yuan. In fact, the offshore Chinese yuan hit a two-month low of 7.1644 against the greenback last Friday following Beijing's new law proposal, as investors flocked to the dollar, a traditional safe haven. Having the yuan's daily reference rate above $7 is considered the Maginot Line for China. In fact, Beijing set the rate below 7 yuan a dollar when the US and China reached their Phase 1 trade deal earlier this year. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, China is targeting a 2020 budget deficit of at least 3.6% of GDP, well above last year's 2.8%. Despite active financial measures taken by China to boost its sluggish economy during the pandemic, analyst concerns linger over Beijing's financial woes. Kim Da-mi, Arirang News.
Over the next 4 days, South Korea and China will be holding their 7th round of talks via video conference on their envisioned free trade agreement. Starting this Tuesday, Seoul's ministry and their Chinese counterparts will discuss ways to lower economic barriers and boost markets in the service and investment sectors of both countries. On top of that, Seoul's trade ministry said the meeting should broaden economic exchanges and protect South Korean firms' investments in China. The previous rounds of negotiations was held via video conference back in March.
Good morning. It's forecast to be a rainy day for central parts of the country. Rain should begin from around lunchtime, so take an umbrella with you on your way out. 5 to 20 millimeters of rain will fall until later tonight, and we could also see some thunder and lightning. Rain will keep central regions as breezy as yesterday, with an expected high of 22 degrees Celsius here in the capital, while southern regions will see bright skies all day with warmer highs at 28 degrees in Daegu and Gyeongju. Seoul will also see highs reaching up to 28 degrees by Sunday. The readings will get warmer as we head toward the weekend. Most areas will see sunny skies, and it's going to feel more like summer day by day. Speaking of which, this summer is forecast to be warmer than average with less rainfall. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for news around the world.
That wraps it up for this edition of Arirang News. Coming up next is a daily coronavirus briefing by South Korean authorities at 11 Korea time, so do join us again then. As always, thank you for watching.